one of the most important qualities that make for self-development is the understanding that there is scope for improvement. If you don't have this urge, if you don't have this desire for improvement, for development, then none of this will make any sense. That's why you have people coming for one day and then they say, oh, boring. If you find a method of self-improvement boring, it means you're not interested in development. So, one of the most important qualities, or the most important quality for spiritual development is what is known as mumukshatva. Mumukshatva is the desire for liberation. So, to get this desire for liberation, you must understand that you're bound, you're imprisoned. You're a slave of your own qualities. Let's say you're an angry person. You tend to get short-tempered. However much you make an effort to get out of this quality, you find that you slip into it. You make an effort 1 day, 2 days, or one interaction, second interaction, you're able to hold it. Third interaction, you slip and let go. Explode. A lazy person finds it so difficult to get out of this laziness. Every night before you go to sleep, you say, oh, tomorrow morning I must wake up and go exercise. Tomorrow morning comes, oh, I'm too tired. And so you push it to the next tomorrow. Why does this happen? Because we are victims, we're imprisoned by our own qualities. You have cultivated laziness, you have cultivated a short temper, you have cultivated maybe sensitivity. There are people who are extremely sensitive. So one word here and there and you spoil their mood. There are others who can take a lot of flack. You can name qualities. Suspicious nature, insecurity, indulgence. Whether you're a chocoholic or an alcoholic, same thing. There are people who can't resist eating chocolates. There are people who can't resist a drink. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So, when you understand that you are limited by your own traits, your own qualities, then you want to break free from it because you understand how it affects you negatively. And this mumukshatva. And then comes the understanding that the world itself, forget your traits, forget your body, mind and intellect. The world itself is a prison. The world has its own pattern. And the world limits you. When you understand that, you want to break free from the world. Just as when you go get admitted into a hospital for, say, surgery, you go there. Even as you get admitted into the hospital, your attention is on what? Getting out as quickly as possible. However nice the hospital room is, however courteous the staff is, however well they treat you, no patient in the world after recovering wants to hang around in the hospital. Right? There are people, I've seen a young man who went in for bypass surgery. The morning after the surgery, he was on his cell phone, giving instructions to his office people, talking to this one, that one. So from the moment you enter a hospital, your attention is on getting out of the hospital. If so, then why do you get into it? You get into the hospital only to get rid of a certain obstruction, a certain condition that is coming in the way of your life outside the hospital, right? In the same way, you and I have entered this world which is like a hospital. To get rid of the obstruction, the desires, the vasanas, the negativities, the faults that come in the way of your enjoying uninterrupted bliss outside of this world. Akshayam Sukham means undecaying bliss. Now, having entered this, you've got attached here, you've got entangled here, you've got involved here in such a way don't want to let go of anything in the world. It's as absurd as entering a hospital and saying, I want permanent residency. So that vision, that my life, even as you are in hospital, the conviction, the vision that my life is outside, not here, is what keeps you, maintains the right attitude towards the hospital and everything that the hospital has to offer. So therefore, this mumukshatva, growth-propelling impulse is there in us from the day we are born till the day we achieve physical adulthood. What the Gita is saying is you have to maintain the same growth-propelling impulse to grow from spiritual infancy, in which we all are, to spiritual adulthood. And that is called mumukshatva. So in order to have this, you have to understand, you must be discontent with the present state. Discontent doesn't mean unhappy with what you have. You may have everything. You may have all the wealth that the world has to offer. You may have a wonderful family. You may have everything going for you like Buddha did. And yet he understood the inherent limitation of being in the world. He understood that whatever I have is temporary. Youth is temporary. It will pass. Sooner or later, however much I resist it, old age will come sooner or later. Sorrow has to come to everybody. Illness has to come, disease comes to everyone. However much you take care of your health, sometime or the other you'll be exposed to disease. So Buddha saw all of this. Buddha saw a dead body, Buddha saw disease, Buddha saw an old man, and that sparked his thinking, discontent with the present. And then you conceive of a better state. You conceive of a state where you will be free from all this. Again, that's what Buddha did. And then you strive for growth. You commit yourself to that and pursue it consistently till you achieve it. Again, that's what Buddha did. And it is these three qualities that converted an ordinary mortal Siddhartha into the immortal Buddha. This capacity each one of us has well within our capability. Every one of us, it doesn't matter what your state of education or lack of it may be, doesn't matter what state of wealth or lack of it you have, doesn't matter what resources you have at your command or you don't have the resources. These three are something that every one of us is heir to, it is capable of. So you must exercise that option. You can't rest content and say, oh, life is so nice. Why should I bother with all this? All I have is one life given to me. Enjoy. Even if you take that stand, to enjoy the life that has been given to you, you need Vedanta, you need the Bhagavad Gita. So, as a thinker said, you must get this nostalgia of the infinite. When you no longer have faith in the finite, you will seek the infinite. You have no choice. What does this mean in terms of our life? Let's take a look at our personality. You and I are composed of the physical body, the mind, the intellect, and Atman, the spirit. Take a look at the body. When you are after physical pleasures, what happens? You're restricted only to the present. In other words, let's take good music. You can enjoy the music physically. Your ears can enjoy it only when you are exposed to it. You can't enjoy it after, you can't enjoy it before. Same thing with food or a sight, smell, whatever it is. Second, you are happy only when you have contact with the sense object. Only when you eat good food are you happy, if you are a physical person, if you are a body-centric person. Third, it doesn't multiply when shared. If you have 2 chocolates and you part with one, your enjoyment of the chocolate instantly is halved. Fourth, higher joys are denied to you. So the Gita doesn't say don't have physical joys. The Gita simply says, why are you restricting yourself only to the physical? Expand it, move. Today we're in a generation of, what do they call it? Extreme makeovers. You know what that is? Where you get you're so body-centric, you're so concerned about your physical looks, that whatever is wrong or crooked in your physical body, you want to set it right. You have a crooked nose, you fix it. You have, bad skin, fix it. So everything about your physical body you go about fixing, and it still doesn't help. Because you need to take a look at what kind of mind do you have, what kind of feelings do you have, what kind of thoughts do you have. If you have the best body, you make over your entire body, fix everything that's wrong in your physical body. But you have a abrasive, negative outlook in life, you think anybody will be attracted to you. So therefore, you have, now if you move, if you're a physical person, you get restricted only to this. Move up and there is instant liberation. The moment you start operating from the mind, your enjoyment is expanded to include the past and the future. Is that not true? Suppose sitting here, you think of a friend of yours from school and your mind instantly flashes back to the past, maybe 30, 40 years ago. And in the 5th standard you did this, and what a lovely, fabulous time you had on a holiday that you went 25 years ago. You can flash back to the past and the mind can relive and enjoy what happened in the past. So also future. You project into the future and you can enjoy a future enjoyment that you believe you can have. So the mind expands, your enjoyment really expands. Second, very interesting. It is possible when you escalate to the level of the mind and identify with the mind, say for instance a mother, she may be hungry herself and there is only a little bit of food. She chooses to give it to her child, and when the child eats the food, she feels supremely happy, totally fulfilled. Isn't that possible? So your enjoyment enhances so much. Whereas at the level of the body, you can be happy only when you eat. At the level of the mind, if any one of you eats, and I've identified with you, I can be happy even though I'm physically denied. Third, it has a multiplier effect. The more you share, the happier you are. And this is something that we need to identify with, experience it, put it to the test. Move to the intellect and your happiness expands to even unknown realms. The mind is restricted to what is known. The intellect can project into the unknown as well. Second, you've identified with your country, say India, you have an intellectual idea. Any Indian prospers anywhere in the world, you feel as if that achievement is yours, right? Recently, you must have read in the newspaper that this prize, MacArthur Prize, was given to a young Indian in a university in the United States. Some $500,000 or something like that. It's not the money, it's the honor of winning the prize. If you have identified with all Indians, then you feel as if you won the prize. If anyone among us buys a Mercedes, you get the same thrill as if the car was yours, and look at this, without having to earn the money to pay for it. going through the training. You know that you buy a Mercedes, it's so highly computerized, you have to go through a training session. Not only you, your chauffeur also has to go through it. You don't have to do any of that. You don't even have to take a ride in the car. Just the fact that you have bought the car gives so much excitement, gives such a thrill. Isn't that fabulous? Instead, we live such a miserable life where we have to earn the money, you have to buy the Mercedes, and then you say, I'm happy. But you can't enjoy that happiness, you can't enjoy the Mercedes because you're plagued with worries. Worry is, what will happen if my driver doesn't drive properly? What will happen if somebody else comes and bangs the car? All kinds of worries. Here you're free. And you expand to a much larger canvas. You can project into the future. You can work now so that future generations might benefit from your work. What a fantastic thought to have. And last, you can enjoy physical and emotional also. You're not restricted. Now you move one more step and get to Atman, the spirit. You have what is known as an all-inclusive happiness. More importantly, your happiness is independent of the world. Whether the world provides you with objects or not, you are completely independent. You have the option of enjoying the body, mind and intellect and its experiences. You also have the option, when things are not convenient in the world, withdraw into the inner realm of the spirit. And that's what gives this fabulous sense of exhilaration, of intoxication. As we saw on the first day, in life, in the world, at any stage if you get intoxicated, you have to suffer what is known as the hangover. In the realm of the spiritual, you get the state of intoxication, permanent, no hangover. How about that? Try it. So, Krishna, all realized souls had that. When he operated with the body, mind and intellect, he operated with it in such a magnificent manner, with so much grace and beauty and magnanimity, that not only did he get happiness, he spread cheer and happiness all around him. And there were moments when he withdrew into the realm of the spirit of that infinite, undecaying bliss. So how to develop this mumukshatva is the most important. First of all, we must have knowledge, which means you have to be aware of your ignorance. If you feel, see, most of us, most human beings feel, I know everything, I'm the best, I'm perfect, and everyone else is wrong. As long as you're feeling that, this mumukshatva will never come to you. At any stage, you look inward and you find, oh my God, there is so much scope for improvement. There are so many negativities within me, there are so many faults that I have. You don't get depressed about it because you also know that there is a way out. I can overcome this. You have the confidence that I have an intellect which can be developed. I have a choice of action which I can exercise. And with these two, with the development of the intellect and the exercise of the choice, I can overcome the worst faults that I have and rise to that level of perfection, for which you have to expose yourself to the ideas of the Gita or any scripture for that matter, any higher ideas, daily. Just as you sweep your homes, you clean your homes, you clean your cars, you clean your carpets, you clean everything around you. The mind also needs cleansing, because the mind every day goes around collecting all kinds of negative, hateful thoughts without you knowing it. The environment has it. You pick up, just as the home picks up dust, your mind picks up these negativities. And when you expose yourself to this daily dose of higher values, of extremely inspiring thoughts, that helps to not only rid yourself of negativities, but it keeps you on this high. It keeps what they call as adrenaline pumping in your system. Second, you must also have a regular exposure to inspiring thoughts like this. That's why we have sessions like this once a year. We have weekly classes. I'm not suggesting that you should come only to what we have. There are enough institutions, there are enough lectures, there are enough opportunities in this city. You pick something that suits your personality, pick something where the presentation appeals to you, stick to it. But you must do this. If you, to the extent you do it, you find an improvement in yourself, and this is a promise that I give in every session. You give yourself 1 year of steady, consistent effort, and you'll find there's a marked difference in your personality. Just 1 year. And it doesn't matter how low you are, it doesn't matter how bad you are. Give yourself 1 year and you'll be well rid of all your problems, negativities in life. But the fact is, you must expose yourself to inspiring thoughts. What do we expose ourselves to? Meaningless soaps on TV. And then all kinds of negativities are going on. So daily dose of negativity you're exposing yourself to. So therefore, knowledge is important. Second, service. This is very important. You know, I've just come from 2 months of constant traveling, meeting different people in different places. And in all these, I noticed that at whichever place there was a person who was service-minded, that person stood out. There was something about the person. A doctor I met in New York, Long Island. He's a surgeon. And the first time I met him was when we went to his house. I didn't know him. He had something different about him. He was cheerful, he was energetic, he was hospitable. He was, I don't know, among the whole group, there were about 60, 70 people there. This man stood out. In fact, I didn't even know that he was the host. He stood out by his behavior, his conduct, I don't know, there's something about him. And much later we discovered that he has this enormous sense of service. Once a year he comes to India, not to big cities like this. He goes to rural areas where he organizes camps to conduct surgery for people who cannot afford it. And he does it silently, quietly. 1 month in the year he devotes to this. How many of us think of doing service? How many of us think of taking time out to help those who are less privileged? If at all we engage in something, it's let me see how I can make more money. It's absurd. All of us have enough and more money. Set that aside and just give one thought to some area where you can do service, and you'll find there's a marked difference in your personality. Remember one thing, the world doesn't need our service. We need to serve. Because the moment you serve, there is your development goes skyrocketing. As against this, you learn the Gita backwards, forwards, Upanishads, Bible, Quran, everything, and you're not service-minded, there won't be even the slightest difference in your personality. So this service-mindedness comes from a sense of indebtedness. When you take a look at all the things that you have been blessed with, take a look, see, we belong to the privileged class, whether you want to accept it or not. Compared to the average citizen, take a look at all the extras that you have, and it will automatically put you into a sense of indebtedness. You owe it to somebody. You owe it to the nation for having law and order so that you could go do whatever it is that you're doing. You owe it to the society to have provided you with the right environment in which to flourish. You owe it to your family to have nurtured and nourished you in the right way. You owe it to the nation. You owe it to this divine entity which you don't know, but it exists, that has given you everything. The fact that we can see, we take for granted. I happened to meet someone recently who, for half her life, had normal sight like the rest of us. And one fine day, she got into a car and she was driving somewhere. And she sneezed. You can't control the sneeze. She sneezed twice or thrice. And you know what happened? Next thing she knew, she had gone straight into a lamppost, driven into a lamppost. That moment she turned blind. And for the last 25 years she's been blind. The fact that this has not happened to us, the fact that we can see,